After you've positioned your trailer in a suitable spot, go around and undo all of the straps. Make sure that the catches are undone before you try and lift the camper to the tilt position. Now the boys are going to take everything out of the trailer that's needed for the setup. Put down the stabilizer legs into position. Make sure the trailer's sitting secure. You may use the stabilizer legs to level the trailer up along with the jockey wheel. Continue to unload the trailer of anything you need. Michael's just removing the poles and the rear walls. Keep the poles in a handy position for the setup. After everything's unpacked from the trailer, carefully lower the unit down. Try not to just let it fall, and make sure fingers and latches are out of the way before you do so. Next step is to take the tonneau cover off. You need to peel the Velcro up and remove the zip. Tonneau cover is folded up. The boys are now unfolding the canvas off the tent, off the trailer. Now grabbing hold of the first bow position to come out. After the bow is successfully folded out, pull the floor out to a reasonably square position. Next step after the tent is initially folded out like this is to pull the awning that's already been zipped onto this one into the ready to pull over position. After this, the boys will put the pegs around at least the four corners to get everything into position. All the pegs and poles, all the pegs and ropes are usually in the peg bag. Boys are now putting pegs in each corner. The main thing here to do is make sure everything is square to the ground in the trailer. That will cut down on the number of creases that we get in the tent as it's erected. Always good to make sure you're on a level site. If you're not on a level site, don't expect the tent to sit perfect. Boys are just opening up the side window on this one. By opening up the windows when you're erecting the tent, it makes it easier for it to take in air as it's pushed out. Sometimes if you don't do that, the tent won't sit quite square because of the air that's caught inside the tent. Again, this is the 08 tent, so it comes off each side of the trailer. Essential to make sure that the sides are coming down square to get the floor to sit square. Ideally you want no creases in the floor as it's coming out. Again, now the boys are opening up the window on the other side, let a bit of air in. The next procedure will be to get inside the tent and push the bows out. The boys have now entered the tent through the inside of the front doors. Now inside the tent with the boys. Initial part, stand the main vertical bow up, nip that in position. Never push the bar so far that you're going to stretch the canvas out. All you would do is open up the stitching and potentially make it leak. As this is only the initial stage of putting the tent up, just to get them up into position is the best idea. Don't try and tweak it at the moment to be square. Boys are now pushing up the outside bows, undo the spreader bars. Okay, boys are now pushing out the spreader bars into the outer position. Again, you do not have to make these super tight at the moment. In fact, never make them super tight as it will cause the tent to leak. Just get them into position. Put the Velcro wraps around all points where supplied. Boys are now stepping outside. Poles are now slid into position on each side. Put down to the ground as Michael's demonstrating here. Place into the sock. And adjust it up. As you can see, we've still got the tent sitting quite baggy at the moment. Again, no need to tweak it at the moment until you get everything into place. Boys have now lifted the main bow up and pulling the main frame out for the ensuite of the 08 tent. Basically reverse procedure of what we did before. Loosen the bows up, push them out. Fit the pole into the corner of the main bow. And adjust the length. Give yourself a bit of air by putting the awnings onto the top. Keith's now adjusting the bows to get the tent to sit a bit easier, while Michael puts in the spreader bar in the corner. The number of that little spreader bar is a number 5. Helps with the rigidity of the tent in storms and strong winds. Keeps the watershed off the roof a lot better.
Make sure the bow, the nut is on the inside.
The privacy screen just zips up on each side, Velcro tag to go around the top. After the poles have been sorted out on the ground, it's always a good idea to organise yourself. The boys are now clipping the spreader bars. Number ones. They go through the small holes, through the covers, and into the small holes in the main frame. If you hunt around with your finger through there, you'll find the hole that the hook goes into. Right at the moment we have Keith inside, just guiding the hook in for the spreader bar, a number 1 spreader bar for Michael on the outside. Sometimes the holes move around on the bows because of the canvas position. It requires somebody on the inside just to spot where it's going into. And as we can see now, what Michael's done is have all the spreader bars into position. So when the awning gets pulled over, the spreader bars are in the position they've got to be. Now we pick up the poles that we need. So what Michael's done now, he's gone around and he's sorted out the poles. What we're going to have is a number 8 pole in the middle being the longest, number 7 pole either side of that, and a number 2 pole in each corner. There's a number 3 spreader bar, which is the long spreader bar. They'll travel up to the peak.
2 number 3s.
And another 3 to go down the other side as well. So essentially we've laid out all the spreader bars and the poles as needed. What Michael's shown us here is the end of the spreader bar has got a slight bend in it. That goes to the middle of the tent to go on top of the pole to allow for the angle and the fall of the roof. Always a good idea to keep everything out of the way, give you a clean workspace. The first pole spreader bar to get into position would be the centre one. By putting the centre one up first, it triangulates to the corners and holds the whole awning up for you to basically allow one person to do it. So if all the spreader bars are put over the centre pole, as the boys are doing now, and you're creating a bit of a teepee effect. When the boys pull the awning over now, that creates a place for the whole awning to sit on. Keith goes back to the centre here, he'll be able to pull that over, put the pole up through the ridge bar. Michael will go under and adjust the length of the ridge bar. Once that's through the hole there, if you tension up the ridge bar first, it's the hardest one to get to because of the height off the ground. Again, don't overstretch the spreader bars. Now when Michael stands this one up, it will basically hold the whole awning in position for us, and then you can do each corner individually. We have no walls on this at the moment. Michael is now clipped into the pole with the hook to hold the awning, and the boys are now going to move to the front corner. Same sort of procedure, leave all the spreader bars loose, pull the awning over the top of it, put the pole spigot through the awning, clip down with the rubber ring into the hole, stand the pole up to approximate height, adjust the spreader bars out. I was doing up the other spreader bar across the top, and we'll move to the back corner and do the same thing. All the spreader bars go on top of the pole first. Canvas is pulled over the top and the spigot is put through the hole. Spreader bars are tensioned out. The canvas basically falls into place now. Again, I reiterate, by putting the centre poles up first, it lets the rest of the awning fall into place without too much trouble. The next two spreader bars are quite simple because they're only putting tension onto the tent. There's no need to pull any canvas through, sit to the outside of the canvas. Now inside the tent with the boys, this is putting up the last two spreader bars through the hole, get the pole to the right height, and then move around and adjust. The quickest way to work out if everything's sitting okay is to get most of the wrinkles out of the gable. We always think it's a good idea for people to buy themselves a small ladder. Always handy around the campsite, as Michael demonstrates now, where we need a bit more tension put onto the spreader bar in the main ridge. Okay, the boys have now got the floor out. Having an open, clean area to roll the floor out, make sure there's no sticks or rocks under it that will puncture a hole. If you are on a campsite that requires, it would be an idea to put something under the floor for the tent, an old tarp or something like that to give it a bit of extra protection. When you lay the floor out, Keith and Michael will now pull it tight up against the trailer and fasten it to the Velcro on the tents. A bit of time spent here to get the floor in the right position will help a lot with the fitting of the walls and getting the whole floor to sit out. Once the floor is laid down, you're now ready to fit the wall. Michael will now put the spreader bar into the middle of the awning. Keith just climbed the ladder here. Again, ladder always makes life a little bit easier around the campsite. The use of the spreader bars increases the structural integrity of the tent, making it stand up to high winds and able to shed water a lot easier. Usually these two spreader bars in the awning are put right on the join line in the awning, or basically the centre of the awning itself. Always an idea after you've used all these poles, as you're packing them up, to give them a have an oily rag handy with some WD-40 on it. It will save the poles getting harder to use as time goes on by keeping a bit of lubrication on, just a light oily rag. Alright, the boys have now found the wall that we require. Moving around as a large piece. Usually an idea to start at the main tent end. Get the Velcro started along the top. Sides will fall into place for you. One on each side helps us exercise a bit. Try and keep the wall at an even tension to the roof. Make sure you're not gathering up any pleats. When you get to the corner, just kick the pole in to get around the corner. It gives you room to get the Velcro around the wall and continue down the gable. Quite an easy process. Should only take about 2 or 3 minutes to hang the entire wall around. This tent is able to be set up in a number of configurations using the rear room. To Today we'll be setting it up with a half wall with the gable extension hung on to the spreader bar, with an open area for the kitchen leading back to the ensuite area. After hanging the walls, boys are now going around to seal the bottom of the wall up to the Velcro on the floor. This gives a completely sealed unit to keep all the critters out. The floor, if the wall is pulled under and laid flat, the floor will just sit on top of it. Again, in the corner, if you just lift the pole up and pull it back in, as Michael just demonstrated, the corner can be folded back under and the floor will form the corner, and as you come around the corner the pole will be slid back into position into the corner, and that will hold our floor down. It's essential after you have fitted the floor and the walls as such that you go around and put all the pegs around the bottom of the walls. They will be what stops the awning blowing up in the wind and is the only form of security it will have using the spreader bar system. Michael just goes around to square the floor off now, kick it out into position and do any final adjustments that we need to do. Now we have a fully sealed room at the front of the tent. Boys are now going to hang up the divider wall in the 08 tent. I've already found what they needed to do. See, Michael's just starting the zip that hooks it onto the side wall. The zip runs down, that joins the side wall on. At this point you will need a ladder on this tent. Right, Velcro attaches to the gable and the hooks of the wall, as you can see Michael attaching now, clip over the spreader bar and the Velcro goes down the side. Michael will now go along and fasten up the rest of the clips to the wall across the spreader bar. Although all this can be achieved by one person, having someone help always speeds up the process and makes it life a little bit easier.
Is that going to reach the floor fine?
Boys are just adjusting the Velcro down on the main tent.
All the way to the bottom? Yeah.
Right, we'll now proceed to put the rest of the clips over and open the door to head back out to the back. Go into the final stages. Boys have fitted the rear windbreak to the trailer. I'll now demonstrate how the kitchen opens. Michael's undone the rattle latches, kitchen opens up into the open position. Excellent, you're now ready to sit down and have a cool beverage and have a enjoyable time with your 08 tent. Alright, we're about to put down the 08 tent. Boys are coming in from the ensuite side of the bedroom. Basically a repeat of what we did this morning setting it up. First up and remove the spreader bars. These are usually left beside the mattress, so they're an easy place to find when you're setting up again. Always let the privacy screen down. Fold that back over the top of the bed. Let's taking the two poles out from the other side. What Michael's doing now is letting the spreader bars of the fixed unit come in. It's essential that this is done or you won't be able to fold it back under. These bars have to be all the way in for this unit to be able to be folded up. I'm doing the socks at the moment with the Velcro around and release the bow. Pushed all the way in. Clear the canvas on both sides. The point there, the boys now exit from the other side. And the boys are now on the outside removing all the pegs. Now come inside and Michael will get up on the bed and bring down the spreader bars out of the roof that are fixed in. And it's important that all the spreader bars and pegs and everything is removed before you attempt to fold the tent up. As Michael is doing now. Usually just pull that back up onto the bed. Michael's now removing the other two spreader bars. out of the unit. I want that to remove those without any damage to the canvas, of course. While Michael's in the bed position, he will let down the other bows. Pull them down. And he's also got to pull the other bow in from the other side as he's doing this, so the whole thing will fold up together. Bit of a help if you've got somebody on the other side. As you can see, that other bow will now come on top of the bed, on top of that framework. And the uprights are now done. We've now released all the bows down. The only bows left in place are the two outside uppers. They will now come down. Two external poles thrown clear of the tent as it's put down. Boys are now collapsing the two external spreader bars. And we should soon see the whole tent getting folded over. Boys now exiting the tent. Everything, all preparations on the inside are done. I'll grab the outside bows and fold over, and again we'll just go around and loosely make sure everything's packed down. It's usually easier to pull the smaller side in on the 08 tent first. The boys will now put the awning and the walls on the top before the tonneau cover goes over. All the annex walls and the annex roofs can now go on top of the main unit. Great place to store all your soft bedding. After all the loose soft materials put on, the boys just going to throw the tonneau cover on now. And the important with the tonneau cover is to ensure that you've got the starting zip where you want it. And then if you haven't, it doesn't take long to turn around and do it the other way anyway. As simple as that, folks, just put the zip around it. And Michael's just fastening the restrainers around the side. 6 of those to do and you're ready to hook up and go home, folks. Thank you for watching.